Okay, so our hunt for the off-road camper trailer is still in the works. So we've looked at the hiker, but one of the first ones we came across was Timberleaf. And the way that came about was one of our clients has one, and it sits in kind of the backyard, and it's been sitting there for, gosh, they've been a client of ours for almost 5 years, and my first time seeing it, I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. I can't believe you can fit in there. It's so small, but it was jacked up. It was pretty high off the ground, and I was like, okay, cool. There's a solar panel on there. I've never seen a hitch like that. What the hell's that hitch? I knew nothing about them, So, but immediately I message her and ask her if she wants to sell it. Like, no, we like it too much. And so I was like, all right, cool. Never, I've asked her probably 4 or 5 times, over the 5 years. Um, I had no idea how much they paid for it after I started researching. So basically, we've been tent campers. That's what I've always done. I've never been in a camper really before. I mean, I've seen them. I've been in one like when my family has one, like my brother-in-law they have one, but I've never slept in one. Um, it's always been tent camping for me. But over the last couple of years with boating and stuff, setting up a tent and getting the campsite all ready just takes forever. All we want to do is hurry up, get to the lake, and you know get there, set up camp, and hit the lake. It's really just a place to sleep. But over the last couple of years, I'm like, man, I really want to hit some trails with our Jeep and go camp and get off grid and not have to worry about power. And we finally made the upgrade of getting a fridge and not using a cooler. 2 years ago, and that's a freaking game changer. But so seeing her trailer, we started looking into these things, and so one of the first places I go is Facebook, look at Marketplace and see what's going on and what people are selling. And man, these things are everywhere, but damn, they are pricey. But so decided to look into it. And so we looked into hiker. You can see the previous video we did. Not too bad, made out of wood, except for the frame, of course. So I'm not too keen on that. I don't know. I've just had friends that have had trailers and a lot of water issues and all that crap. So I wanted to stick with aluminum, but I decided to take a look. So reached out to Timberleaf. They're here in Colorado. I've watched one of my favorite channels to watch is they have a teardrop trailer. Where's Wiseman? Him and his wife. I mean, I watch all their videos. They're a cool couple, and they've got a nice little teardrop, and it seemed to me it's like it's perfect. But I just don't like the look of teardrops. I don't like that curve. I mean, I like the way they function, like the back galley. I like that. One thing I've noticed on all of these trailers, most of them anyway, the roof rack on them, the little bars, they're like an inch by inch square. And to the life of me, I'm like, why not have a T slot, mounted up there? To me, it just makes sense. I mean, we have a T slot roof rack on our GMC, our bed rack's T slot. I mean, it just makes sense to me. So that threw me off. And that's pretty common on pretty much everyone we've seen so far. But, looking at this trailer, again, I personally don't like the looks of them, but I like what they offer. I like, the small off road capability. It's probably one of the best ones for clearance that we've found. But we're not going to go crazy off roading with one of these things in our Jeep or in our GMC. So I'm not too keen on having to have a ton of clearance. But then again, it's like you don't know, you might need it, so why not just prepare for it? So we looked into these guys, and I think it's like, let me see, I want to make sure I give you guys the right information. Uh, let's see. Um, I want to say these guys require $1,000. No, okay, yeah, it's $5,000 deposit, and I think you have to pay 30% once the trailer starts to be built. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But they're about 4 or 5 months out. So when we were looking at it, I was like, okay, it can't be too crazy expensive. So we looked at the Classic and we did the build out on the Classic, and it was almost 40,000. So like, okay, maybe that's not the one we need to do. So we went to the Pica, and I believe this is the same one that Wiseman has and my client has. So I was like, okay, this is almost $10,000 cheaper at the start. So let's go that route. But by the time you add everything that you want to add, we're sitting at close to almost, $38,000. So what, I mean, to me, yeah, that's a lot of money. And for me to spend, $40,000 on a camper, and I know that's chump change compared to some of these other ones we've seen that are $80,000, $90,000. But and really, I want the trailer to look the way I want it to look. I want it to be, I'm looking at like, okay, that looks like an off-road camper, and I want it to be extremely functional and do what I needed to do. So looking at this, the Pica, I mean, like I said, it's a great trailer. I've seen them in person. I've seen them on videos. It's just not the style look that I prefer. And then looking at, I know these guys are going to be around. I mean, anything can happen. But looking at this, I'm like, some companies, I've heard many stories where people put, $5,000 down, and that's to get your spot to be in the line for the build. And then once they start building, they require 30 or 50% of the whole amount down. And then when the trailer is completed, that's when you settle up and pay the difference. But I've heard horror stories of people, getting these trailers, putting all down or the half down, and then all of a sudden they go belly up and they're out. The company files bankruptcy, and you're out all that money you put in, and you've been waiting 3 or 4 months, 6 months for your trailer to be built, and now you're just screwed. You're screwed out of that money. Now you got to figure out, legal stuff and deal with all that. So that's something I definitely want to steer away from. So we've kind of pushed to the point where, you know what, let's find something that's in stock or used, and let's add on to it if we need to add on to it. And that's one thing, I like about these wood trailers is it's a lot easier to drill into them, to add molly panels or another propane tank mount or whatever. I mean, it kind of looks like on this trailer, it looks like it does have T-slot rails on it. So, um, you know, that's awesome. But again, most of them I've seen don't have that. They just have the cheap old bars, but then they charge you an arm and a leg for it. But then again, I am saying cheap old bars. I don't know. Maybe they're freaking amazing. But looking at some of these other trailers, people are taking their awning mounts and then drilling the hole through that bar and then making that mount. I'd rather have it be more modular and just use a T slot and do your T nuts, and you're good to go. I mean, it's freaking amazing with those. But again, so trying to see if we can find some pictures here. Okay, trailer colors. Let's see what we got. I mean, here are some images. I mean, like some of these, I mean, oh, it's on their Instagram. I don't want to do that. Let's go back here. I mean, like when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, cool, because I'm all black, no chrome, all black. Our Jeep's black, our truck's black. I just want it to be, right there along with it. What I do like about this teardrop is the galley and how you can really pretty much cook from the back. Now, I've seen other trailers where the stove and the cooking is on the side and it's like a pull out or a drop down, that I don't mind. I mean, no matter what, if you're getting a trailer like this, it's meant to sleep in and that's it. And everything else you're doing outside of that trailer. So this is your base camp. And I like that idea. You know, like I said, we're tent campers, so we're used to that kind of thing. Maybe down the road we might get into something bigger, and take the one that we buy and just use it as a rental or something. But I don't mind that. So, like I said, I've only seen videos. I've never done it before, so I don't know. I have no idea how well it's going to be if I cook out from the side or cook out from the back, whatever have you. But so far, like I said, we've looked at a couple, and getting one of these brand new, basically 40 grand, with everything that you need, everything you pretty much want. Uh, to me, that's quite a bit. Looking for them used about half price. You can get about half, but then again, it's like I'm afraid to buy used because you don't know how well they did the maintenance on it. So maybe those of you watching can help us make the decision. If you have a Timberleaf trailer, we want to hear from you. We want to hear the bad, the good, the bad, ugly. We want to hear about it. Where have you taken it? What would you not add on if you're building it out for the first time? You know, when you first built yours out, what do you wish you would have, had them put in there for you, or maybe what you could go away with, that sort of thing. Heater, shower, hot water heater, we want to hear from you. So right now, like I said, these videos we're doing, we're just sharing our exploration, our journey on trying to find the right one, the one that's gonna last us for as long as we need till we upgrade to something bigger if we do, and just make sure we make the right decision and get what we want. So if you have some tips and tricks, please share.